Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So we're in our beloved AV-8B today, our Harrier, and we're going to look at navigation. So we've recently had some extra features added into DCS to allow us to have more functionality with the waypoints on the Harrier, i.e. being able to edit them and add new waypoints from the actual Harrier itself. So previously we've only been able to navigate waypoints. Those waypoints could only be added in via the mission editor, but now we can actually adjust them in the Harrier ourselves. So the situation today is we've got 4 waypoints that have been added in the mission editor, and we're going to go and show how we navigate between those waypoints. Then we're going to come back to base, then we're going to show editing the waypoints and how to add a new waypoint on. And then also at the very end, how to turn a waypoint into a target designated point, and so we can employ weapons on that waypoint. First thing we want to do if we're going to deal with navigation and waypoints is to go into nav mode here. Whoops. Like so. And we want to go to our HSI, so that is in our menu here known as EHSD. So this shows our HSI in relation to us. There's us in the middle. There is north there is south, and it's the usual 360-degree clock. So first of all, if we look in our HSI here, we've got the up and down arrows here where we can cycle between our existing waypoints that were put in the mission editor. So you can see as I cycle through them, we've got this chap here that shows the heading from us to the waypoint, and then if it's within the screen's range, we've got a circle here which shows the actual location of the waypoint. We can cycle 1, 2, 3, 4 and back. Now our scale's a little bit wrong for these waypoints, so we're going to scale out a little bit. Let's try a scale 25 miles and now cycle through them again, and you can see that they're within the boundaries, or within the 25 miles this time, so we can see all of the locations of those waypoints. Okay, so we're going to go back to waypoint 1 and we're going to look at information in our HUD. In fact, first let's get airborne and then we'll look at the HUD. Right, so now we're airborne. Let's look at extra information we've got regards navigating to the waypoint. So we've got waypoint number 1 selected in the HSI here. You can see there is the bearing we need to turn to get to that waypoint. And there is the distance to that waypoint, 9.7 miles at 183. So we're going to turn on our heading tape up here. We're going to turn to 183, and you can see we've also got the information on the heading there. Whoops. And it's changing slightly, so it's 178 now. Okay, and now we're on heading, and you can see it's represented by that down tick there on the heading tape. So we're going to line ourselves with up. That's going to take us to waypoint 1. Also, the waypoint information is shown here. We've got waypoint 1 selected here, and the distance to that waypoint. Okay, and just to show that when I change the waypoint information on here, on the HSI as I call it, then it also changes to the other waypoint and a different heading there. So let's go back to waypoint 1. And I should say also we can put the map on. We can go to map there and map there. So if we wanted an overlay like so, we can do that, and we can zoom in the scale slightly. Now we've got no actual display on the HUD of the waypoint, like in, for instance, the Hornet. It will give us an overlay on the HUD of the waypoint on the ground. We don't have that unless we wanted to designate it as a target, but we're going to do that later. So we can fly to the waypoint now, and as soon as we're over the waypoint, we can basically switch over to the next waypoint and follow our chain of waypoints like that until we get to our target waypoint. Our target waypoint in this case is waypoint 4. And we can see with there 0, and we've reached our waypoint. And then if we want to go to waypoint 2, ping onto waypoint 2. Follow this new heading up here, follow the new range there. And that is basically navigating around the waypoint. So the next thing we're interested in doing is editing the waypoint. So we're going to head back to base for that. Next, we want to show how to add a new waypoint from the cockpit from scratch. So if we look on the map here, we can show our plan. There we are there. We've got waypoint 1 there, waypoint 2 there, waypoint 3 there, and waypoint 4 there. Waypoint 4 being the target waypoint, or it will be. But we want to add another waypoint, which is going to be our RTB waypoint. So we're going to add waypoint 5, which is going to be where we are basically here. If you go on the F10 and you look at the top left there, you can see it gives us northing, easting, and elevation information. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write that down on a pad and then go back to my cockpit. So what we're going to do now is click on the dated command there, Bosh. And what that's doing is now is giving us is showing us the extra information about the waypoints. Okay, so waypoint 1 waypoint 2, waypoint 3, it shows us the northing and the easting and the elevation and some other stuff that I haven't looked into yet. You've got MGRS by the looks of things there and whatnot. And we're going to keep it as simple as possible. We're going to add this new waypoint 5 in with northing and easting information, okay? So we're going to go over to here to our top left. We're going to go waypoint, and we want to add in waypoint 5, enter. And the star shows that we've now adding a new waypoint. Okay, so with this waypoint 5, we want to edit the, I know it's hard to see with my silly track IR, but we want to edit the position of the waypoint. Okay, and the first element of that position we want to edit is the northing information. So N for northing. And then we're going to type in what's on my pad here, the northing information we collected. 251949, enter. Okay, so that's the northing in. And then I believe to get to the easting, I think we have to click position again. And you can see now it's looking for easting information. Just I'm going to confirm that with E for east. And now I'm going to type my easting information in. Now just one thing, we have to add a 0 on the beginning of the easting information. So just how navigation works basically. So 0 I've added on, and then I'm going to type the information that we had from our F10 map, which is 553104, enter. And one thing, we're going to need an elevation as well. It needs to know so it's got if you like, an X and a Y coordinate for that waypoint, but it needs a Z as well. It needs a height. And I checked on the map, it told me 98, and it's already guessed 98, but we're going to add it in just again, because why not? Enter. It's accepted, and you can see it's converted that to meters there, 29 meters, but that's all fine. And now we can cycle between our waypoints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 is right dead on our runway. So you can see it's worked. It's add waypoint 5 as our RTB waypoint. So that shows how we can add a new waypoint. Right, so that's an RTB waypoint added. Now, if we go back to our map here, the only thing we've got to add now is waypoint 4 is our target waypoint. It should be here where these tanks are, okay? But due to a mistake in the mission editor, we added it in the wrong place. So waypoint 4 is actually somewhere around here. So we've got to go and adjust that waypoint 4. So edit existing waypoint 4 so that it's now in the middle of these tanks. So let's get the coordinate from the middle of these tanks. Again, you can see at the top left of the screen, and I'm going to write that down now. Stand by. So we've written that information down. Now we're going to cycle through our waypoints to get waypoint 4. There it is. So waypoint 4, we're now going to edit to our new points so that it is on top of the tanks, and that we can then designate from that target to fire our weapons. So we've got waypoint 4 selected, you see. We're going to position. It's on easting. That's wrong, so I'm going to go position again. Confirm northing. And I'm going to write down 252450, enter. Thank you very much. Position again, easting, confirm easting, add the 0 on the beginning, 553654, enter. And an elevation of 96. I made it, so 96, enter. 29 meters. Okay, so let's have a little look here. So we're going to waypoint 4. Let's just zoom out a little bit so I can get a better idea of where we are in the world. So waypoint 4 it thinks is there. So in theory now that should be directly on our tanks. So now we've got target 4, waypoint 4 in the middle of our tanks, we believe. We want to turn that into a target waypoint so we can transfer that information to our targeting sensors when we go to fire our weapons. So the first thing is turn off data. We're done with our data, and we're going to go designate this DSEG here. Check I've got number, right, make sure I've got the right one selected. So 4, we've got 4 selected now. We're going to go DSEG, and waypoint 4 is now our target point, okay? And you can see we have a slight different symbology here on our map. So now we're going to arm up with some weapons. We're going to fly the cycle of waypoints until we get to number 4, and then we should see targeted information close to the tanks. It'll be interesting to see how accurate it is with our system. Right, so we're airborne now. Our Mavericks are warmed up and ready to go. We're back in nav mode. We're locating ourselves to waypoint 1. You can see it's directly on our nose, half a mile. Now as soon as we go over that ping, we have to select the next waypoint, waypoint 2. Now notice they do not update themselves, so if you go over waypoint 1, it will not automatically update to waypoint 2. You have to choose it yourself, basically. In the early versions of the Harrier, it automatically updated to the next waypoint. Right, anyway, we're up to waypoint 2, off to waypoint 2 now, so stand by. Ping, waypoint 2 done. And you can bind a key on your joystick or the keyboard to do this shifting up and down of waypoints. That's what I would suggest. So you'd have to click down there every time. Right, we're off to waypoint 3 now. Okay, we're approaching waypoint 3 now, and ping, that's it. Next, over to waypoint 4, telling us to go this way. And there is our target point to waypoint 4, which is in the tanks, just as we promised. So the accuracy looks very, very good. There are a few blown up targets because the Joker got on target before us, but that's okay. So next we're going to go to air to ground mode. We're going to go main menu over to our DMT. We're going to turn it on to TV mode, so it's slewable. And you can see without doing anything, it's automatically slewed our DMT onto the target, and it just happens to be right on one of the tanks, so that shows how good the accuracy was. So from this, then we can basically start shooting stuff with our Mavericks. So menu, stores, haven't done this for a while. I've got my baby selected already, and uncage, and center select forward. Right.
And then target lock or acquire or whatever the button is tells it designate, click down.
Roger, I've got that. Now that one was already blown up, that was on target, so I'm going to go for this little chap here. Right, and it won't fire.
Master arm.
Oh, whoops, who's a silly cap? Master arm. And rifle. And thump, got him. So we saw there how we could use our geographic waypoint to direct our DMT onto the target, and then we can just slew around and set individual targets like normal and go and kill them. Right, so the only thing now is to go to our waypoint 5, which is our RTB waypoint, which is the one we created, and once we're there, we're going to land, and then we're going to just show another way of moving an existing waypoint using the TDC slew. So stand by as we head back to base. So we've got our moving map here. We've got waypoint 1 selected, as you can see here, and you can see its geographical location here, but we want to move that with our slew, so we can click on data here, and we can use our TDC slew, and let me show you the command for that. So it's these buttons here, TDC forward, left, right and back. So let's cancel out of that, and as we press them, you can see that I can literally just move it around. So let's say I want to move it onto that airfield there, right, like so, and we can change the scale while doing this. If we want slightly finer detail, we can zoom in and get it right bang on the middle of that runway, just like that. Okay, and then as soon as we click data, that is going to save that, and you can see the easting and northing has been updated constantly. Let's go, as well as the elevation. The elevation will automatically put it at ground level, basically. So data, and that would have saved it now. So let's just get an overview of where we are. So let's zoom out, 25 miles, and you can see, we scroll through, waypoint 1 is now directly in the middle of the airfield as we've shown. So we could go through, and that, if you know on the map where you want to move something to on this moving map, that's the quickest way to do that, because you can just literally slip it up, slip it left, and put it on a point. To say put it in a canyon or on a bridge or something like that. So there's really easy functionality. Right, so in summary, we've shown how to navigate between waypoints, how to edit an existing waypoint, how to add a new waypoint, how to slew and move about one of those waypoints and edit them using the moving map, and how to convert one of those waypoints into a target point and bomb and attack from that. So that's plenty of extra functionality in our Harrier. Hope that helps, and we'll see you later.